Dr. Jagadeesh, MD General Medicine, working as a senior resident in Department of General Medicine. I have 5 years of teaching experience and 2 publications under me. Today's class is about Addisons disease. Before going to the Addisons disease, we need to know what are the hormones produced in the adrenal gland. We have 2 parts, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. In adrenal medulla, there will be a corticolamine secretion will be happening. In adrenal cortex, there are 3 parts, zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata and zona reticularis. Zona glomerulosa, there will be presence of melanocortical secretion, and zona fasciculata which secretes a glucocorticoid, and zona reticularis secretes a sex hormone like androgens. So in Addisons disease, it might be due to the 2 causes. One is primary adrenal insufficiency and secondary adrenal insufficiency. Primary adrenal insufficiency is due to the adrenal cause. Secondary adrenal insufficiency is due to the hypothalamus or pituitary cause. When we come to the primary adrenal insufficiency, it is due to the destruction or dysfunction of the adrenal cortex, leading to the deficiency of cortisol, aldosterone and adrenal androgen. What are the causes of the primary adrenal insufficiency? First is most common causes, autoimmune cause. It is due to the immune destruction of the adrenal cortex. There are 3 causes: autoimmune polyglandular syndrome type 1, autoimmune polyglandular syndrome type 2 and isolated autoimmune adrenalitis. So type 1 autoimmune polyglandular syndrome is due to the AIRE mutation. Autoimmune polyglandular syndrome type 2 is due to the HLA association, genetic cause. There will be presence of anti-21 alpha hydroxylase antibody. Genetic cause, we have congenital adrenal hyperplasia due to the deficiency of hormones like enzymes like 21 hydroxylase, 11 beta hydroxylase, 11 alpha hydroxylase, and congenital lipoadrenal hyperplasia due to the STAR gene defect. And we have adrenal hypoplasia congenita, adrenal leukodystrophy, and familial glucocorticoid deficiency and AAA syndrome. After the autoimmune cause, we have infection and infiltration. The most common cause is TB. Then we have HIV, CMV, Cryptococcus, histoplasmosis, and due to the metastasis, lymphoma, sarcoidosis, amyloidosis, and hemochromatosis. Then we have adrenal hemorrhage or infarction. It happens in then we have adrenal hemorrhage or infarction. It happens in meningococcal infection or APLA. Then we have drug cause like mitotane, ketoconazole, soramine, ethonamidate. Secondary cause of Addisons disease is due to the pituitary or hypothalamus. In pituitary, there will be a decreased ACTH secretion due to the congenital hypopituitarism or due to the abrupt stopping of a steroid, or due to the tumor, surgery, irradiation, or pituitary infarction, apoplexy, or infiltrative disease. In hypothalamus, due to the decreased corticotropic releasing hormone secretion. In clinical presentation, they can present to you with chronic fatigue, weakness, weight loss, or anorexia. They can present with depression and apathy. They can present with hyperpigmentation of sun exposed area and also in knuckle and palmar crease. It is due to the increased ACTH secretion. They can present you with nausea, vomiting, abdomen pain, diarrhea. They can present you with postural hypotension, salt craving, dehydration, hyponatremia, hyperkalemia, hypoglycemia, and metabolic acidosis. They can present you with irritability and poor concentration, syncope, and there will be a presence of anemia. Loss of axillary and pubic hair and decreased libido can be present due to the reduced sex hormone. So central versus peripheral adrenal crisis, how we are going to differentiate? In peripheral cause, it is due to the adrenal cortex destruction. So there will be decreased cortisol, aldosterone and androgen, but there will be increased ACTH due to the feedback mechanism. They will present you with hyperpigmentation, postural hypotension, salt craving, and severe dehydration, hyponatremia and hyperkalemia, and metabolic acidosis. Whereas in central cause, it is due to the deficiency of ACTH and corticotropic releasing hormone. So there will be a low ACTH and decreased cortisol and androgen, but there will be aldosterone will be normal because due to the it comes under the RAS mechanism. So there will be no hyperpigmentation, hypotension is milder, hyponatremia may occur, but hyperkalemia is not seen here due to the aldosterone is normal. Then we come to the diagnosis. First we need to do the serum cortisol level. If it is less than 3 microgram per deciliter, it is a diagnosis of Addison disease. If it is more than 20, it rules of the adrenal insufficiency. If it is 3 to 20, we need to do a confirmatory test by doing ACTH stimulated test. So failure of serum cortisol to raise appropriately after the synthetic ACTH confirms the adrenal insufficiency. In Addison disease, there is little or no cortisol response. So what are the additional tests you will do? And aldosterone and renin we should do. There will be a low aldosterone and high renin activity in the primary or Addison disease. Hyponatremia and hyperkalemia will be there, and low or borderline hypoglycemia will be there. Then etiological evaluation of Addison disease. In autoimmune cause, will we have 21 alpha hydroxylase antibody and imaging of CT abdomen to assess the adrenal size and pathology and morphology. There will be enlarged adrenal gland in TB infection and infiltration, small or atrophic adrenal gland in autoimmune adrenalitis. Like addition test we have to do like TB in endemic region, screening for other autoimmune disease like thyroid, diabetes, pernicious anemia, and rheumatological autoimmune diseases. Then we come to the treatment. First we need to do is replace the glucocorticoid by giving oral hydrocortisone 15 to 20 mg in a 2 to 3 divided dose. If there is a stress, surgery, trauma or fever, inflammatory process, we need to double dose. Next is mineralocorticoid replacement by giving fludrocortisone 100 to 200 microgram per day. Then we need to replace the androgen by giving DHEA 25 to 50 mg per day. Then we come to the interesting topic, that is Addison's crisis. Addison crisis results from the sudden or severe deficiency of cortisol, often accompanied by aldosterone deficiency in a primary adrenal failure. So what are the causes and precipitating factors? One is undiagnosed Addison disease subjected to stress like infection, surgery and trauma. Sudden withdrawal of long-term corticosteroid therapy can cause Addison crisis. Acute infection like gastroenteritis or sepsis can cause the Addison crisis. Adrenal hemorrhage or infarction, poor compliance with steroid replacement will cause Addison crisis. Acute cortisol deficiency leads to the impaired vascular tone, poor stress response and hypoglycemia, leads to the sodium loss and potassium retention and volume depletion. Addison crisis patient can present you with a severe hypotension, shock which is refractory to the fluid replacement, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea mimicking the acute abdomen, fever, dehydration and altered mental status. They can present you with hypoglycemia, hyponatremia and hyperkalemia, and pre-renal azotemia due to the dehydration and metabolic acidosis. How we will treat the adrenal crisis? First we need to give immediate IV hydrocortisone and aggressive IV fluid management by giving saline or dextrose if there is a hypoglycemia. Hydrocortisone we need to give 100 mg IV stat followed by 200 mg in 4 divided doses in every 4th hour. Then we should taper every day. On 4th day replace with oral steroids. Fludrocortisone 100 to 200 microgram per day we have to give along with hydrocortisone. Then we need to correct the electrolyte imbalance and treat the underlying precipitating factors. Thank you. We come to the end of session. We will meet you with the interesting topic in next class.